Yo, Whiskey Sick Podcast, all up in your motherfucking ass. Episode number 157. Hit him with that theme music.
Pull up in the parking lot, it's full, so I gotta walk. Got the chalk, got the draw, outlines for these ladies I'm about to slay. Got my cake bomb with some napalm, shots of days gone, then the game's on. What you play, huh? Hard to get, awfully wet for all that dry hate. Looking my way while your eyes say you and I may get off like a right lane, but I might strain. Pull up lane with a migraine.
Yo, what is up? I'm back after a 2-week hiatus. I'm back. There was a COVID scare. We got a lot to go over. There was a COVID scare. I don't know what the hell I got. Tested positive for COVID and then took another one and another two, and I was negative. Goes into everything I've been saying, for a while about those tests. Who the hell knows? For the last 2 years, the flu disappeared. The flu was no longer. I mean, it was eradicated. We weren't celebrating that though. I think what I had was the flu. I think it was just the regular flu. It was just like I haven't been sick since right before the Triple Champ. So right before the Triple Champ was born, like 2 weeks before he was born, I got pretty sick. Just a nasty cold, nasty head cold. That's what I had this time. Lasted a little while. Just the cough. I took ivermectin. You're gonna shut me down? You're gonna Joe Rogan me? Extreme left Trumper right here, I guess. I took ivermectin. I've had ivermectin. I got ivermectin from ivermectin. I got ivermectin from India. I told this shit on the cast a couple months ago. Back in December, I ordered 100 tablets for $20. It was like $24, $22. Did cost $10 shipping. So, altogether it was about $34. And it took a month to get here. Package showed up all beat the fuck up. But I got it. Just little tiny tablets. The wifey got on it. She's triple shotted up. We don't call them vaccines. There ain't no fucking vaccine. Forced to get them through her work. Had to get all three. Who knows if they're gonna make her get the fourth one? But she got on that ivermectin. She was chilling. I got it a little worse. 2 days were bad. Just head cold. Just head cold bad. And then after that, it was just a nagging like little cough with the snot and all that shit. What we got it from the little Triple Champ right here. He got sick first when we went to some party on Easter. The family that's always that was super hardcore into wearing masks and wanting people to get vaccinated and all this shit. They're the motherfuckers that are always sick. These assholes are always sick. They're not assholes. They're cool. I love them, but still, they're the ones that were always sick. They're the ones that always get. The only time the Triple Champ ever gets sick is when he plays with their kids, and then he comes home and he's all fucked up. Almost every time. So we all got sick. Everybody went around. The little future women's Triple Champ, little 9-month-old got it nasty. The worst thing is when your little infants, when they get sick. It's just because they don't know what the hell's going on. They don't know how to breathe. It's all sorts of shit. Had a fucking get on some real shit. You want some real shit? I had some real shit happen the other day. I'll tell you all this. Any of y'all, I know a couple of the homies got some young kids. My little daughter, my 9-month-old daughter, just 2 days ago almost choked. She did choke. She choked very badly, and it got very, very, very scary for a second. We were in the Thunderdome just kicking it. I was writing, doing my thing. She was just playing, cleaning up, and she started choking, and really bad. Couldn't breathe, face turning red. Had a bunch of snot and slobber. She was sick. So I thought she was choking on slobber. But I picked her up right away. Through my last 2 jobs that I've had, I've taken CPR courses, including, the back compressions and stuff like that for infants. So immediately, homies, if you don't know, I put her over, because she's 9-month-old. I put her over my arm like this, laying face down, and used my hand like this to keep her mouth open and whack. Hard, homies. Hard. Like harder than you think. Like you're going to really hurt her. And you kind of go at a slight upward angle right in between the shoulder blades on her hard. I hit her like 3 times hard, and a bunch of shit came out, and she started crying. And so I was like, okay, cool. And I'm pulling all this snot out of her while I'm holding her like this, and I'm walking into the back into the house because I have one of those little those choking devices, those little plunger devices. I'll show you one. I got one. I got the yellow one with the little yellow handle. You put it over the face mask over and you plunge, and you can use it for adults too. But I got that shit. I'm terrified of the little Triple Champ when he was a baby. He used to choke on food all the time. He hated chewing food. I don't know what the hell his fucking problem was, but he would always choke. So we got one of those things because I was always worried about choking. And you don't want to use that until after you've already tried the back compressions. That doesn't work. Then you hop on that. So I was already slowly making my way in here. She starts crying. So I'm like, cool. She's getting some air. And then immediately she starts choking again. And so I start hitting her again, hitting her more back. And she starts to cry a little bit again. So she's at least right at this point, she's getting air. At least I know she's getting air. So I'm holding her up now and I'm trying to like see if there's anything in there. There's just a bunch of spit. So I'm pulling this slobber and snot out of her mouth. And then she really gets it. And she starts choking and she can't breathe at all, and her face gets really dark purple. I come in here hard on the back like 4 times. The very last time in my mind I'm already thinking I gotta call 911 and I gotta get the plunger. The very last hit, like on some movie shit, the very last hit, she horked up a whole bunch of shit and started crying, and I was able to get it out, and I held her up. And I was, after a little while, she's crying and she's getting her breath and she was fine. And I'm just, shit. I was terrified, homie. This is the most terrified I've ever been in my entire life, easily. I felt like after this, I felt like I was in a fight. Like I was exhausted just from the adrenaline dump. But I was able to finally, after a minute or so, I didn't know what she was choking on. I thought she was choking on snot. It was getting caught up in her. But I looked inside. Earlier in the day, I had actually the little homies got little plastic eggs for Easter, and they were outside. He took them outside and they were playing with. And I stepped on one and cracked one, and I didn't realize it. I guess a little piece broke off, and I picked it up and I threw it away. And I had already swept too, so I don't even know how she got it. But this little tiny triangle of plastic, she got, and she's terrible at putting shit in her mouth. Like I know all babies are. My little boy, he was bad, but this one's worse. This little girl, everything. I mean, she goes around everything immediately. Somehow she got it in her mouth, and it kept getting stuck in her throat. And it's small enough that I think maybe she was getting a little air, but it's jagged on all sides, so it had to be stabbing her in her throat. It was bad, but after I hit her on the back, it popped out, and I was able to fish it out. It was caught in her cheek. You could barely see it because it was a purple color, so it was like the same color as her cheek. So I was able to scoop it out from her. The last thing you want to do, by the way, if you have a choking kid, is try to stick your finger in there and try to hork something out, because you're going to push that shit in deeper. And I wanted to right away try to do that, but I stood my ground, homies. I'll pat myself on the fucking back. I saved her. I saved my daughter. Now, it was my fault to begin with. She never should have been in that shit because I stepped on that. I should have fucking, I don't know. But I fucking knew what to do. I hit her with the back compressions. I had the plan. I go over this shit in my head all the time. So it was just like it's already been rehearsed. And just kept telling myself, homie, don't panic. Don't fucking panic. Don't panic. And right when I was about to start really fucking panicking, she horked that shit up, but I was able to get it out. Homies, that shit, I don't wish that on nobody. I don't wish that shit on nobody. That was some brutal shit. After that, I was just sitting there, man. I was gassed. I was like, man, felt like I was in a fight, man. It was crazy because it got to that point where I was like, this is going to be life or death. I was already had the phone out. I was about to call 911. It was to that point. We had that. So we had that. We had COVID. That's why I didn't do the cast last week. Just sounded like dog shit. Didn't want to be hacking up a storm on this shit. The worst part is that I can't stop smoking. So when I have a cough, I make my cough worse because I keep smoking. And I'm out there hacking up a lung and shit. Wifey's all mad. Well, why can't you just stop smoking for a fucking couple days? Can't stop, won't stop, motherfuckers. 18 every single day. Been smoking since I was 18 years old. I mean, I've been smoking longer than I haven't been smoking. I'm like LeBron in the league. Been in the league longer than he wasn't in the league. That's how I am. I'm like Bron in the league with the smoking game now. Been smoking longer than I haven't. I ain't stopping now for no fucking cough. So COVID or not, I'm just going to say I had it and I got the antibodies. Who knows? Maybe I did fucking have it. I don't know. I had a nasty headache for 2.5 days. So I often get migraines, so I don't know. It's kind of normal for me. But I did have this fucking like a vice grip on your motherfucking ass, on your head, not on your ass, on your head. So that's what's been going down, the last few days, last few weeks. What do we got? What do we got on deck? We got, did you see this shit yesterday? This shit popped off. Before I forget, the Dave Chappelle shit. So a couple weeks ago, we had Will Smith. Go watch that shit. I'll leave that shit in the description or something. The podcast I did right after the Will Smith slapping the Chris Rock shit. I did a cast on that shit. Shit's fucking classics. And a lot of comedians were saying, this is open season now. You're setting the precedent for motherfuckers to come up on stage and start slapping the shit out of people. And, all this violent shit is now going to get the green light. And here you go. And a lot of people were saying that. A lot of these trans people and these fucking crazy ass neoliberal fucking purple haired fucking weirdos and shit. They're out here fucking saying Dave Chappelle's next. Dave, somebody needs to do this to Dave. And just a couple weeks later, it happened to Dave. This motherfucker, you see this guy on stage fucking jump Dave Chappelle, tried to tackle him, open field, tackled him. I don't know if Dave went down. I think he went down. He kind of took the shot pretty good. I mean, he came out of nowhere. He must have thought at the last second he sees this guy, coming at him. Turns out after the fact, they find out that this guy had a replica gun that was actually a switchblade. So when you pull the trigger, a little knife popped out of the barrel. But it wasn't an actual gun. But if you saw that, you would think it was a gun. Easy. How this guy was able to get this shit into... You go to an old school Qualcomm Stadium, Jack Murphy Stadium, they at least got the elite security. You know about elite security guards in Charger games, right? You know about that motherfucker beating his fucking shooter off field level, right, standing right next to the fucking cheerleaders. You remember that motherfucker? They at least had those dudes wanding you down real half-assed before you went into the game. I got caught up one time for having a fucking little travel shot of Captain Morgan in my belt buckle from one of those things. They tried to take away our season tickets. My old lady had them. They kicked me out of the game. They didn't even let me go in. I had to go buy another ticket. It was a pregame. It was a preseason. It was Cowboys versus Chargers. Got my ass kicked out. They had wanded me, and somehow they found it through the fucking wand. I don't know how that doesn't happen when you're at one of these big ass shows. I don't know how they don't get wanded and find that fucking knife. So this guy tackles him, Busta Rymes and the great Jamie Foxx. I love me some Jamie Foxx because one, he's fucking dope, dope actor. Two, my old keyboard instructor when I went to the school in Hollywood back in the day, music school. The guy who was teaching me keyboard was a member of the group called Sarah. And Sarah they played the instruments for Kanye West when he was on tour. So this was Kanye West's keyboardist. Multiple times. This was in 2005, 2004-ish, 5-ish and shit like that. So he wasn't even that a meteor shit. There would be times when I was taking his class, I would go there and take class, and he would have to leave in the middle of my damn class so we could go meet up with Kanye to fucking rehearse and shit. One night he left to go with Jamie Foxx. He met with Jamie Foxx. He did some shit for Jamie Foxx when Jamie Foxx was singing, make those albums and shit. So this dude Sarah, I don't know where I was going with this shit. Where the fuck was I going with this? I don't even know. But anyways, Jamie Foxx is there. That's why he's an OG. That's right. That's where I was going. He's an OG because, acting, singing, and all that shit. He's a Cowboy fan. He's a D-Boys fan. Die hard. And I just found out this dude is kind of a New Orleans Pelicans fan. This dude was at the game. Was it Game 6 or Game 4 after that major win we had? He's a big Jose Alvarado fan. He knew Alvarado before he got into the league. He used to go to some gym and see Alvarado working out, talking about he was going to get into the league. From, I think he played in Georgia. I can't remember where Alvarado played college ball, but he knew Jamie Foxx knew him before he made it to the Pelicans. So he was backstage, getting Alvarado's jersey and shit like that. It was dope. So now we got two teams in common. So I love me some Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx and Busta Rhymes. You know how big Busta Rhymes is. They stomped this dude out. I mean, they kicked the shit out of him. This dude looked like he got Kimura and didn't tap. He looked like motherfucking Nogueira, Big Nog, when he fought God damn it. I'm so terrible with names when I get high. The fucking dude. The fucking... Frank Mir. God damn it. Frank Mir. Remember when Frank Mir broke that motherfucker's shoulder and snapped that shit and he was all hang? That's what this motherfucker came out here looking like Rick James got his legs kicked the shit out of. I mean, they kicked the shit out of him like Rick James legs. I mean, this dude came out of here all busted up. Homie had fucking painted fingernails and the whole fucking nine. I think he was, I don't know, was he some trans activist or something? I don't know. You know, these fucking, they talk about extremists and they talk about this white extremists and supremacists and shit are this danger to freedom, and so much so that they call them terrorists and shit. The biggest threat to democracy in America is now Americans. But when you often see it, it's these crazy left extremists that are always, that A, are the fascists, are the true fascists, and B, are the fucking ones that are always instigating violence. They're the ones that are always screaming in your face and trying to punch you and slap you and rushing you on stage and doing all this shit. Now, I don't know for a fact that that's where he's from or what he's all about. He just fucking, hey, listen, you look like it. It is what it is. I gotta judge you by the book on the cover because I don't know nothing else about you. So that's how I'm gonna judge you. I'm gonna judge you because I see you fucking, shopping at Bidets R Us now. You ain't fucking wiping your shit with like this, homie. You ain't getting that shit around back, homeboy. Your shit's fucked up in the game. You got your ass kicked. And I'm going to judge you on that. I'm going to judge you getting wheeled out on a motherfucking gurney with your arm all fucking twisted in a knot on some fucking Boy Scout shit and want a fucking patch. These motherfuckers got a Boy Scout patch for the knot they tied this motherfucker up in. And your little nails and that little fuckery you had going on. That's how I'm going to judge you. And it's fair. It's fair game. So, the thing is, though, and the whole crew rushed the fucking stage. I mean, they were on this dude right away. Thank God, because I don't even think they knew at this time. Dave Chappelle went on with the show and made a joke, and Chris Rock came on and made a Will Smith joke that they had any idea this guy had this fucking knife on him. That shit would have been bad news bears. So you must protect Dave Chappelle at all costs. So it was dope that he had that kind of security. These other dudes that are out here in regular clubs and stuff, they ain't gonna have that luxury. It's they kung fu fighting. I mean, that's it. They're gonna have to come up with that Detroit urban, survival tactic shit. They're gonna have to fucking bust out that Steven Sko shit out there on the fly, improv Biggie on the corner, freestyle that shit. They don't have Busta Rhymes, big ass motherfucking Busta Rhymes coming to your rescue. They stomped this dude out. I was proud of these dudes. They stomped this dude out. He never should have made it out of there alive, really. If I'm being all the way real. But he got dealt with quick. Hopefully that's an example. Hopefully in a club situation, somebody in the crowd, the whole crowd should have been on that stage. As soon as that guy ran up there, the whole crowd should have been on that stage stomping that dude out. That's what you're gonna have. You're gonna need the crowd to police itself. That's what you're gonna need in some of these smaller venues where these dudes are just telling jokes and shit. I saw some people talking about it. They're like, it was at the end of the show, so this motherfucker paid for it, and he made sure he waited until he got his money's worth, and then he rushed these motherfuckers. Then he rushes Dave Chappelle. He didn't do it at the beginning. He wanted to see the goddamn show, so he don't hate Dave that much. But Dave made it must be a trans person joke afterwards. I don't know. Maybe he caught a glimpse of the fingernail polish and the hair and the whole nine that this guy got going on. But best believe that whatever the mainstream media is telling you about who the real danger is to democracy and all that, it's the complete opposite. It's the people who are telling you that. They're the complete threat to the democracy. You've seen that shit. I won't get into the politics right now. We'll do a politics show in a little while. But when they're telling you, look over there for the threat to democracy, look at them. They're the threat to democracy. The true fascists, Black Panthers back in the day used to have a saying, scratch a liberal, expose a fascist. The real fascists are the people that want to expose their beliefs and their ideas and shit on every single body, and they want to make it law, and they want to censor anybody who doesn't believe with them. That's fascism. There's only one administration that's been ushering straight up fascism into existence as we speak right now. They said you had to vote for him. You had to vote for him to save democracy and get this fascist out. And everything they told you the other guy was, they are. and a lot of people, this fucking guy, the homie Bautista, who I'm going to bring on, we all told you. I'm not for the duopoly or anything. I've told you, you have two right-wing conservative groups. political parties. That's it. You had the same party. They're the exact same fucking party. Look at all the money they're shipping off. They can come to agreement. All of a sudden, there's no pay-go. There's no, how are we going to pay for it when it's about war, when it's about funneling money, laundering our money through conflict throughout the United States. Then all of a sudden, they agree when it comes to funneling our money through pharmaceutical companies and forcing us to take it, it's all good. They all agree. But when it comes to giving people shit, then it's, how are we going to pay for it? Where's the money going to come from? Pay-go. You got to pay as you go. Build back better. Build back these nuts. Did that go through? None of that shit went through. The little infrastructure bill, did any of that go through? Very little of it. And how long they fight about that shit? Just to get some fucking bridges built. Flint don't have fucking water. But they just sent $33 billion to motherfucking Ukraine and been sending close to $1 billion every week for the last month and a half, 2 months. Where's that money coming from? After they've increased the defense budget by over $80 billion this year. Almost close. We're touching on $800 billion. It's a fucking racket, homies. They laundering your money. This is Ozarks. This is the real Ozarks. They doing it to us right now. It don't matter what the fuck side you're on. There ain't no sides. They fucking hate you. They hate me. Wake the fuck up. That's it. That's all I got for that. I don't know why I went out. Listen. We'll go deeper another time. What else do we got? So we had, NBA playoffs. Full swing. My Pelicans gave it all. The last time I think I was on here, were we 2-2? I can't remember where we were at. We fizzled out at the end every single game. Listen, the Suns did not do us one time the way that they've done the Mavs in the first 2 games. They up 2-0 on the Mavs. They didn't do us like that. You could say the first game they got out to a big lead. They had a 23-point lead, but late in the fourth quarter we got that shit down to 6. We made it respectable. Looked like we were going to come all the way back, and couldn't. We had the series tied up at 2-2. Game 6 was down to the last minute and a half, tie game. Those last 2 minutes, Booker made a huge 3 that kind of gave him the edge going into. Once you're in that minute and a half range, that under 2 minute point, and you have like a possession lead on them, and then it gets to that foul, you're behind the 8 ball. You at that 2 minute range, you really got to have the lead right there, or be alternating, or you really got to have that lead, and we didn't have it going into that crucial time, and then it turns into having to foul and pray that they miss foul shots. It took Chris Paul going 14 of 14 to beat us. Homie didn't miss. I mean, the Suns since that game and the two games against the Mavs last night, they shot 65%. These fools shot 60. You're not going to beat a team that just doesn't miss. We play much better defense than the Mavs do. We got across the board can play better defense. You saw Oliveira was eating ass. He was eating CP3 ass. He was dishing the ball off in the backcourt to somebody else, so he didn't have to bring it up against him. He got ripped from behind. He got 2 8-second violations. That Alvarado should have been starting. Devontae Graham should have never been in that motherfucking game. He should have been put on ice. Jackson Hayes had a terrible fucking season. He should have been put on ice, and we shouldn't have wasted those minutes. Jose Alvarado should have been out there from the jump. Bring him in with a second unit, and he should have been running shit. Herb out there playing. Goddamn, he stole the show. And listen, the Pelicans finally are getting respect. I've heard Stephen A. Smith. I've heard Kendrick Perkins. I've heard all these motherfuckers now jumping on our goddamn nuts, saying the shit that I've sat here for forever and told y'all. I told y'all we would be in the playoffs. I told y'all the Lakers wouldn't be. I picked us in the conference finals. That was before I knew that Zion wasn't even going to play. Zion was saying that he was going to come back for Game 7. Maybe. I know for a fact he would have been here if we played. I don't know who we would have played. But we played we would have played the highest seed left in the who's that? Memphis maybe. I think we would have played Memphis. Memphis would have been tough. We didn't play Memphis tough at all this year. We played the Suns tough. Our last 2 times we played them. One time we beat them by 15. I don't think CP3 played in that game. Anyways, tough season, a great season. More I can ask for. We won 2 winner-go-home games. Took these dudes to the brink of a Game 7, literally down to a minute and a half of going to Game 7. You can see the difference between the Mavs. If we had to play a team like the Mavs in the second, we'd whoop their motherfucking ass. We whooped the motherfucking Mavs ass, and we'd make that that Grizzlies a series too. There's nobody that would sweep us. Everybody's saying 4-5, 4-5. Hey, we made it to Game 6, and they were competitive every single game. Every single game we were in, all of those games. They didn't do us like they just did the Mavs last night. The Suns didn't do us like that, and you can clearly see now. Motherfuckers calling to start over. You can clearly see now how good the Pelicans actually are. You can clearly see. They were much more competitive against the best team. I mean, we were 10 games under 500, 33-30 after we started 3-16. Not your typical 8 seed that roll up in there against the best team in the league. And they were the best team in the league by like 8-10 games. And we gave them hell, man. We were competitive. It was tough to see them go down. We still got the Pelicans shit up. They rocking all season. I've never been more excited for a basketball season coming up. I told y'all before that Zion would be a damn moron if he wanted to leave now. They talked to him after the season was over, and he said he couldn't sign an extension quick enough. I told y'all. Listen, you got to put winners out. I don't blame him if he wants to go somewhere if he doesn't see the culture and the front office trying to put a winner out. But we did. We put a winner out. And, these teams talk, these people all over the country, they shit on my Pelicans all the time. They shit on, I don't know much. I've never been to New Orleans. I've been through Louisiana a couple times back in the day driving through, but never been to New Orleans. I'd love to go to a game soon. But they were shitting on New Orleans as a basketball town. And you could do that. Listen, if the Grizzlies weren't shit, they wouldn't be showing up to no Grizzly games. They don't show up to, the only reason they show up to Laker games is because it's a status symbol. The only reason they show up to Knicks games because it's a status symbol. That's it. Those teams are trash, complete garbage. A lot of these teams, if they didn't have winners, why would you go see them? But this is an exciting team. You got all these rookies that contributed. Trey Murphy the third out there had big games. These guys are going to, gain valuable experience. These dudes are only going to get better. Herb Jones is only going to get better. Did you see this shit he was out there doing? You can't tell me that that's not the most exciting team in the NBA. I mean, that was some shit. I mean, people really got put on to the New Orleans Pelicans, and I've been rocking since day motherfucking one. I put it on wax a million times, all my fandoms. I've been a fan since they were the Charlotte Hornets. That's how I got on the Pelicans thing. They went to New Orleans. I rocked with them. I stayed with them as we were New Orleans Hornets. Then they were going to become the Brass. Or some. They had all these different name changes that they were coming. They really want the Jazz name back because that used to be the New Orleans Jazz, which would be dope. But listen, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Pelicans. Still not, but I actually like the uniforms. I like the jerseys. I like the colors. I even like the goddamn logo. They made a pelican look all right. A fucking pelican. Are they storks? I don't know. Are pelican storks? They the motherfuckers dropping the babies off and shit. I don't know. But it's grown on me. Fuck it. I don't care. I love this fucking team. Zion, get your ass up in there, man. They got a whole summer to get everything going and just come out the gate. You can't afford to start. This is 2 years in a row that they have had terrible starts. I mean, they had something similar the year before that, where they were like 1-11 or some shit like that when they started the season. So without that terrible start, who knows where they would have been? They would have been a top 4 easily. Wouldn't have had to play the Suns in the first round. So either way, it's looking up. Rest of the series, I mean, it's looking right now like the Suns are going to run away with this. Listen, this Grizzlies team, man, whoever wins this series between them and you could argue that the Grizzlies should be up 2-0. I mean, that was some tough shit going down. They won that second game down at the wire after that jaw travel. I know you've seen that shit. I called that shit when it happened. It was like 30 seconds left, and he drives to the rack. I mean, this dude looking like Zeke holding the fucking rock, just running with this shit. I mean, talk about a carryover. Talk about a carry. He didn't carry it over. He just carried it. I mean, he literally just cupped it and ran 2 steps and then put it down. It was like, I was like, how's that not a fucking travel? That's a blatant travel right there. It's a blatant carry. Blatantly, and you can say, oh, they do that on everything. Allen Iverson used to get. He at least he's right in play. I mean, this guy's fucking running like a goddamn running back into the lane, into the hole. He's hitting the hole with the goddamn thing. I mean, it was blatant fuckery at the end there. I love the Splash Brothers. If If I ever had close to a second team, because I don't really have second teams anymore. When I was a kid, I kind of did. I would root. I really like Clay. I really like. I love Draymond too, the dog ass motherfucker. I like of course Chef Curry. I love those dudes, and these dudes. You know, I don't know who wins that series. I think it goes 7. I'll take the experience of the Warriors to win out. Especially now that they're going home, all you have to do is, as the away team, is steal one of those games, and they did that. They could be down 2-0. They could be up 2-0. So I mean, it's one of those series that is nip tuck. I mean, that's one of the best series going on right now. A lot of these other teams did shittier than. I mean, the Nets got swept. You had the Bulls out in 5 games. You had several teams. I think the Jazz were out in 5 games, something like that. I mean, the Pelicans were like the best team in the first round that lost. I mean, easily. So. Who knows what you're going to get from the Celtics day in and day out. I have no idea what's going on with them. One night they're getting their asses ate. You know, the little fucking bibs with the pockets on. The Bucks got the little bibs with the pockets on, catching it. And the next minute, you know, they dominated from the get-go from the other night. I mean, they were never even down. I mean, they went up 20 and pretty much kept that lead the whole way through. So who knows what you're going to get from them. Sick, sick playoffs though so far. Digging the shit. Who comes out of the East? Man, Miami's fucking tough. Miami's tough, man. Philadelphia is just a fucking rotted carcass on there. They're just a fucking crime, chalk outline. That's all they are. They're fucking. They ain't shit. It's over. Harden. You can't get at it as you get older and progress. I know he's not that old, but as you get older, he's got a lot of mileage on him when it comes to playing basketball. As you get older, you can't get out of shape. You can't let yourself fall out of shape, because once you fall out of shape, it's very hard to get back into shape. It's easier to stay in shape, stay mobile, keep your mobility, and do all the shit. I think he just got out of shape too much, and I don't think he's ever going to be the guy that he ever was. He doesn't have that. He never really had explosiveness. He was sneaky fast around the corner. I mean, he didn't look like a D Rose that would just blow past you. He would just kind of somehow just pull on you and just get out in front of you. He had nice handles and shit like that allowed him to get a step. But he wasn't the fastest dude, but his shot's gone. He's not getting the same elevation. He just doesn't look like he has the same athleticism, man. You don't have the desire. You don't have any of that. If I'm Philly, I'm getting out of that. You signing that long term. You want to sign that long term. You want to give this dude a max contract. I'm out on that. And if I'm the Nets, I'm out on Ben Simmons. I don't give a fuck. Doctor said I need a backiotomy. Go get your own motherfucking backiotomy. You ain't a part of this team no more. I wouldn't. No fucking way would I want either one. Who would have thought, that both of those guys that were involved in that trade ain't shit. They ain't shit no more. Either one of them. I wouldn't want either one of them on my basketball team at this point. Who comes out of the East? I'm going to stay with the Bucks. They got Giannis. They got the best player in the game right now. They got Drew Holiday. I know a lot about Drew Holiday. He can play D. He's on and off as an offensive scorer. He's so hit or miss. I mean, you get nothing out of him one night. He'll score 26 the next night. Hit a couple threes, and then you can't make a fucking shot the next night. He's hit or miss on offense, but he always plays D. Real tough D. When he was a Pelican, our defense was terrible, but without him, it would have been all-time terror. It would have been 150 a night given up. So right now, if I had to pick, I'm going to go. It's looking like a rematch from last year. And don't forget, the Suns were up 2-0, looking like they were going to cruise, and they got slapped the fuck up for 4 in a row. So they're gonna. I don't mind CP3. I know he gets under people's skin. He didn't leave New Orleans the way AD did. He wanted a winner. He wanted to go play elsewhere. He wanted a chance to try to go chase a ring, and he's been doing it ever since. Unfortunately, I don't mind him. I know he does annoy me with the little bitch ass wanking and shit. He got served up by Herb a couple times. He got laid out. He got dropped with his shoulder. Alvarado got in his ass. But I still like him. I thought before he went to the Suns when he was going to leave OKC, I came on here and said he should go back to the Pelicans. He would have been a perfect fit in the Pelicans, just like he is with the Suns. Either team he could have taken over the top, especially if we had CP3 right now. This dude's fucking, when he's on, this dude's on. I mean, He can score when he wants to. He can facilitate him. He's fucking dope. He's still dope. Always loved CP3, man. It was tough to see him go. But then luckily right after that we got AD, and then you know how that ended. But BI's better than AD, so we all good on that one. All right. What else do we got? Let's do UFC, man. We just came off of Rob Font versus Chito Vera. I had my official pick. If you check out the Substack and my WordPress, I write a fucking detailed breakdown on all these scraps. I put all the picks on wax. If I'm not on here, they're always on wax there. I had Chito Vera, but when I saw he missed by almost 4 pounds, I would have switched my pick if I was able to, but everything was already on wax. So I'll take the L, but even though I would have going into it that night, I was like, Chito Vera is going to win this fight. You can't miss weight by almost like 3.5, almost 4 pounds. You can't do that shit and think that, something's not right. I mean, a guy who's never missed weight, But with that being said, Chito's a weird guy. Chito's a weird, tough fighter to predict, man, because you go back to the Frankie Edgar fight. He's down 2-0 going into that third round. Just getting outworked. Just not working hard. Just not putting punches together, not putting stringing strikes together. What little he does throw, he hurts people with, but he gets outworked. He ends up on his back. He's fine. He does strike very well from his guard. He goes to work from his back. But in the judge's eyes, man, when you're on your back, you're spending a lot of time on your back, you're losing the round. Unfortunately, because I think even if he's getting the better of the exchanges from his back, I don't think these judges are sophisticated enough to see, a Boss Rutan versus Kevin Randleman type fight and see the damage being caused from the bottom is greater than what's being caused from the top. I don't think just staying on top of somebody should grant you the victory. If the person on bottom doesn't mind, that's their game, being on the bottom, then it's not a disadvantage for them to be there. And especially if they're working subs, if they're working strikes from their back. But he was down 2-0, and then he was threatening with that teep kick all night against Frankie, and he caught him, kind of bailed him out. And then this is the exact same fight that happened to Font against Aldo, dominating the round, just outworking him, touching him, and just putting punches together, and amazing cardio to be able to throw combinations and the jab as much as Rob Font's able to do. And then Rob Font he's the opposite of a slow starter. He's a slow finisher. He can't finish fights and he can't finish rounds. At the end of every round, he would get dropped by Aldo. After a fight that he dominated for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, the last 30 seconds he loses, gets dropped, almost finished. You gotta go with the damage caused. You gotta go with the guy who almost finished the fight, Aldo. So he stole those rounds. Chito Vera did the same thing. Got outworked. Got touched up. Couldn't tell by his face because this dude wears fucking damage like a 3-piece suit. This motherfucker out here fucking Met Gala on the red carpet the way he wears strikes. I mean, it looked like he didn't even get touched, but he was getting blapped up. He was getting blicked up, and I don't think that's because, Rob Font doesn't have power. He's finished motherfuckers. But he was just going right through him, and getting outworked, which is why I originally picked Rob Font to win the fight, because I thought that exact same thing would happen. But at the end of every round, he got dropped. Rob Font got dropped and almost finished. It seemed like at least 3 of the 5 rounds, it looked like it was about to be over. Steals the round at the very end, and then just battered him. The difference in that fight is you can see variation of attack. That's the difference. You have one guy that's out there just boxing, using his hands. Very formidable tool. These motherfuckers break. These are harder. Knees are harder, shins are harder. Chito Vera is using all of those. He's landing nasty elbows inside. He's landing those standing knees that dropped him, head kicks. Those fucking round kicks he was throwing were like mini Crow Cop kicks. I mean, goddamn. And even though Font was in great position, he maintained his defensive responsibility the whole fight because he was eating those right on the arm. Those damage your arms. When you see Thai fighters, when you see these guys fight, they just keep throwing those kicks at your arms. They're going to hit you in the shoulder, hit you in the forearm. They'll dead your motherfucking arms. You take a couple of those. That had a lot to do with it. Go look at his right hand. Rob Font's right hand after some of those fights. It was sloppy. It was almost like he was pushing it. There was times where he was slapping with his lead hand. He was getting his arms beat up. and he was kind of gassing a little bit because he was throwing such a high output. Great fight though. Chito easily won that fight. 4-1, I would say. Maybe, maybe clean sweep. I don't know. I'd have to go back and judge it again, but it was easy. It was no doubt who won that fight. So big fight for him. I don't know. They're talking about Dominic Cruz. That's a good fight. The Aldo rematch would be good if they're not going to give Aldo the next fight, which it sounds like they're going to go with. Or even if he fights Sandhagen, that would be a dope fight. But I think they're going to go with Dillashaw versus Aljo next. So, does that leave, Aldo versus Dominic? Then you got Sandhagen versus Chito Vera. Those are interesting fights. Those are dope fights. So there was that. Let's get into the next card, UFC 274, and I'll get the fuck up out of here quick. We'll just Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. God damn. I don't know, man. Listen, I'll say this. I love Gaethje. I picked him to beat Khabib. I'll come on here and own that shit. He won the first round. Motherfuckers. But I knew it was over at the end of that first round when there was 30 seconds left. Khabib takes him down. And fucking Gaethje gives up. Go watch this fight. I mean, as soon as the fight, now you can say, well, there, by the time, Khabib got into an advantageous position, there was like 15 seconds left, so he's just not wasting any. He knows that he's not going to get submitted in, 10, 15 seconds, so he kind of, and this is what I was thinking in real life, he just, not going to waste any energy defending anything. Why, he knows he's not going to get choked out in that amount of time. The second round starts. And as soon as the fight went to the ground, it was over. It was like Justin Gaethje all of a sudden didn't know how to wrestle. He doesn't know how to grapple. I mean, this guy's a guy who trains with Kamaru Usman, for God's sakes. I mean, he just straight. He fucking quit. It looked like he goddamn quit on the mat. As soon as it got to the mat, he's like, "Oh, it's over." And he goes, I mean, this motherfucker, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe ass, fucking, which submission should I get? Should I go for the arm? No, I don't want to break his arm. Should I go for the triangle? Okay, should I mount him? It's fucking crazy. This motherfucker just picked whatever he wanted to do to Gaethje as soon as it hit the ground. So that was very, very disheartening. Again, he comes back and he fights Michael Chandler. Chandler really only tried to get him down once before he was like, beat the fuck up and then, emergency shooting. He stuffed that takedown. He wrestled really well. I mean, he stuffed a couple decent level changes, but he was stuffing them and he looked good. He looked like I wanted him to look against Khabib. I wanted him to sit down on some punches. He needed to keep the lateral movement, but he fought panicked in ways. I mean, look, he just would not. You move, sit down, get back out of there, on some punches. You can't just as you're moving, throw in and never really sitting on that. That's why Dominic Cruz doesn't have so many knockouts. He touches you while he's moving away and shit. He's never really sitting down on punches to knock you out. So he fought a little frantic on the feet, but he still destroyed that leg. Khabib said afterwards that he couldn't take any very many more of those, and that's why he was in a much bigger hurry to get the fight to the ground in the second round. But all that doesn't bode well when you're fighting, Charles Oliveira. If that dude gets your back in the first couple rounds, it's over. If he gets Justin Gaethje's back in the first 2 rounds, it's over. Now, you can say at any point in the fight, really, but I think his best chance to get his back in, or, a mount or some situation like that is going to be in the first 2 rounds, like he did against Chandler, like he did against Poirier. Now, we know that he only got Poirier's back because of the little... Remember the glove grab, and then Poirier tried to roll out and gave up his back. Some fucked up shit. But go back to that fight, and Charles Oliveira was getting pieced up on the feet. Now he didn't. He what he did really well was pressure Poirier. Constantly moving forward, was starting to take its toll on Poirier. It looked like it gassed him a little bit, sticking that teep into his chest, into his gut. Constantly, but he was eating mad punches. When you look at the overall, he got pieced up by Dustin Poirier, and he looked a couple times like he was rocked, like he's looked in the past. He looks, he can take a shot, but he's still a little bit chinny. You saw him against Chandler in the first round, but he was able to keep that pressure. Remember, he got the tie clinch. He was landing some heavy knees to the body. He was working Poirier's body really well, and his pressure was starting to take a toll. but in that, he was getting pieced up. If Poirier doesn't give up his back in that situation, because he defended against defense real well, and then he got caught in that position, and that's what led to that. If he could have got some separation and exchanged a couple times, I think he gets Charles Oliveira out of there in that second round. I think it's over at that point. So Justin Gaethje is going to have the big power advantage. I don't know. I don't see Oliveira. He's got, his kicks are a problem. He's tough in the clinch. I don't think his hands are really that dangerous. He's got to get this fight to the ground. His major move is double leg into body lock, use the cage, try to work his way around back, get your back. That's what he wants to do. So if Gaethje can land that kick and throw those punches and not fight frantic, I don't want, if he comes out looking like Khabib, like he did against Khabib, fighting frantic, just laps and laps and laps. I'm a fan of taking laps. Put the yellow jersey on, take a couple laps around. I'm a fan of that. But you gotta at times, choose your points when you're gonna sit down on some shots and then get back on your bike. It's not just constantly on your back on your bike. So if he comes out fighting frantic like that, terrified of the takedown, I thought it would be a big difference, because I thought for once Khabib was gonna fight somebody who wouldn't be uber terrified to be taken to the mat, a guy who has a wrestling background. So hopefully that's the case here. I'm going to go Justin Gaethje TKO round 3. He's a plus 145 dog. Justin Gaethje as a dog, always good look. Charles Oliveira absolutely can win the fight. I've gone back and forth on this one a million times. In a way, my head says Oliveira because of what we saw against Khabib, but my heart's on Justin Gaethje, and he can definitely, if he lands some of those bombs, just like Poirier, I don't think he's going to take some of these bombs, even though Poirier's got some big time power too. So it's gonna be a hell of a fight, but give me TKO round 3, Justin Gaethje. Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza. Listen, I might drop a little 20-20 on Carla Esparza on this one. I'm gonna pick Rose. This is a fight we've seen before, 2014, the inaugural strawweight championship after the Ultimate Fighter. Carla Esparza won that fight, rear naked choke, was able to take her down at will, Rose down at will, and choke her out. I think Rose has gotten a little bit better. We saw her get, dropped on her head against Andrade. She's going to be on her back. What's up, man? Where are you going? We've seen, she's going to end up on her back. So, the key for Esparza is in those early rounds, creating damage from the top. She's going to have to, like her last fight, she got a TKO finish for the first time in years. She needs to cause damage from the top. She can't just play this as top control. The chances of her, controlling it's so hard to do the Bilal. She's like the female Bilal Muhammad, having to control the fight for 25 minutes on the ground like that. That's a long time. That's a risky game plan, because that's a long time to have to rely on trying to control somebody on the mat. But that's really what Carla Esparza has to do. Her stand-up is not good. It's not good at all. And as you've seen in fights like she did against Marina Rodriguez, the later the fight goes, the more difficulty she has getting the fight to the mat sometimes, and she tends to kind of get a little gassed out. Because wrestling like that is always going to do that to you. So I think if Rose can hang on for the first 2.5 rounds, it's going to be all her after that, as long as she has some unless she takes damage. That's how you nullify the later rounds. If you're Carla Esparza, cause some damage, drain her out. I'm going to say she's been in Rose has been in these battles, she beat MMA Mask, she beat Joanna twice, girl who absolutely destroyed Carla Esparza, took her belt. I'll go Rose Namajunas, TKO round 4, but Carla Esparza is the bet. She gets this. We've already seen her beat Rose, so we know she can beat Rose. So you already have that. So what is she? Plus 180. Who knows what she ends up at? Plus 180. I'm gonna probably hop off here and drop at least a 10. At least what is it? Hamilton? Got to at least drop a little Hamilton on that. But that's a live dog right there. Carla Esparza, super live dog. I almost had, if I didn't take so many dogs last week and get burned by them all, I would take Carla Esparza this week. But I'm going to take Rose Namajunas, TKO round 4. Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson is going to be all Chandler. Just, does he want to get on top and beat the dog shit out of him? Does he want to stand and bang? Is it all about, like he was against Gaethje? Does it, it's all about the entertainment? Could be. If that's the case, then he's going to stand and bang with Tony. He can beat him there too. That right hand's too fast. Tony just does not have His major malfunction, like Dean Thomas, nailed it a couple fights ago for Tony Ferguson. He doesn't have the fundamentals to fall back on. When all the salsaing and the cha-cha-chaing and all that shit and the spinning shit don't work, can you fall behind the jab, a double jab, a 1-2? Can you slip? Can you roll? Can you do these things? No, he can't. He can't do anything. He can't produce offense. When Doncic isn't in the game, the Mavs can't produce offense. It's the same shit here. He has no way to produce offense, so he's just taking, shots. He doesn't have, defense. And on his back, he's just not as dangerous as we thought he was. Kevin Lee was the last time we saw a real dangerous guard from him. He has the ability to hit you up into, to tie you up into mission control and drop elbows. He has, a go-go plata. He can go-go plata you and drop elbows. He can threaten with triangle chokes and hit you with elbows. He's got that, but we haven't seen that. Benil Dariush just dominated him on the mat, losing my voice here. All that coughing all week. My bad, homies. So I'm give me Michael Chandler. I think it goes to decision. Tony's still a tough dude. Homie's still a tough dude. But I mean, he's lost 3-4 in a row. It's been a while, 3 in a row, so this could be the 4th one. He's fighting tough dudes every time, though. He's not taking any cans. He's not trying to get, they ain't throwing him any get over the plate fastballs like it's, Cal Ripken in the 2001 All-Star game or anything like that. He's going out here having to hit the best stuff. There's no trash cans beaten on in the fucking dugout and all that shit. He's getting the real deal. Give me Michael Chandler decision. Mauricio Shogun, who the OSP. The rule number 1 is never bet on OSP ever. You have no idea what OSP is going to show up. OSP has beaten Mauricio Shogun, who years ago, 2014, 15, something like that. Like in under a minute. I remember it was quick. It was under a minute. Caught Mauricio with a hook or something like that. I can't. It's been a while since I've seen that fight. I'll take Ovince St. Preux, but Mauricio Shogun Hua at plus 190, live dog. If he comes out just swinging, throwing shit against the wall, he could definitely, who knows, OSP. This motherfucker Shogun might be the only person, I thought he was out of the UFC after his last fight, so Shogun might be the only guy he could beat, and they matched him up with a guy he's already beaten. But I like Mauricio Shogun. You never know. He got his ass fucking beat the fuck up by Paul Craig in his last fight. They fought twice. They had a draw the first time and the second time. Paul Craig was just, I think, grounded, pounded him the fuck out. And that was like 2020, 2019. It's been a while since Shogun showed up. Now he's 40 years old. Give me OSP. Give me TKO round 2. I don't feel good about that at all. Donald Cerrone, Joe Lozon. I'm surprised that a guy who's lost, who hasn't won in 6 fights. He had a draw in there against Nico Price. Lost 5 of his last 6. The one he didn't lose was a draw. So he hasn't won in 6 fights. Is a minus 170 favorite over Joe Lozon, who's actually coming off of a dub against Jonathan Pierce, who's actually a tough dude. But Lozon lost like 3 in a row before that. This is a fight straight out of 2012. I mean, this should have been happened a long time ago. Plus 150 for Joe Lozon. That's a great bet. I think he just had, Cerrone doesn't take shots as well anymore. He doesn't, but not only that, he doesn't react to shots very well. He doesn't see them. He's never been good defensively. He's always had that straight up posture. He never moves his head. He's never slipped a punch in his whole fucking career. But it's even worse now. He doesn't see anything coming. Alex Morono pieced him up, homies. Alex Morono pieced this motherfucker up. I think he beat him in the first round, didn't he? Or early second, something like that. Just whooped his ass, man. Give me Joe Lozon. Give me TKO round 2. I'll take that dog all day. Now let's run through them. I'm just going to go quick. Andre Fialho versus Cameron Van Camp. I haven't seen Van Camp fight. They just added this because Andre Fialho just fought like 2 weeks ago. Baeza knocked him out. Give me Andre Fialho. TKO round 2. Randy Brown, Chaos Williams. This is a fight on the undercard. Who knows who wins it? This is literally a toss-up. Minus 105, Randy Brown. Minus 115 this is a pick 'em, basically. Chaos Williams. I'll go with Randy Brown just because he's a more technical fighter, can slip and do more things with his boxing. But hold on 1 second, dude. Give me 1 minute. Oh, little homie's got to go pee. Give me Randy Brown, but I don't feel good about this. Carlos Williams could definitely. This dude got stupid Ralph Wiggum stupid power. But Randy Brown's a little more technical, but he's very hittable too. Sometimes he starts moving his head without his feet. Give me Randy Brown. Give me TKO round 2. I don't think this goes to decision. Give me Randy Brown TKO round 2. Mason Chiasson versus Norma Dumont. Give me Dumont decision. Brandon Royval versus Matt Schnell. This is a little banger. Give me Brandon Royval rear naked choke round 2. Matt Schnell could be a little sleeper though. Blagoy Ivanov is a kind of underrated tough dude. Marcos de Lima, another underrated tough dude. Give me Blagoy Ivanov decision. Francisco Trinaldo versus Danny Roberts. This is gonna be a little banger. Francisco Trinaldo is just a underrated tough dude. He's like 86 years old. He's like mid 40s. I mean, he's pushing fucking Tom Brady age. He's got to be. Give me Trinaldo. Give me decision. Tracy Cortez versus Melissa Gatto. They got Tracy Cortez minus 170. Chances are she's going to take it down, win the fight with just top control. I like Melissa Gatto. She's a little killer on the feet. She's not great technically, but she throws caution to the wind. She got an active guard. She can sub you. I think she can cause some trouble. I think Tracy late in the fight could run out of gas and might not be able to get this fight to the ground. If it's standing, I'll give Melissa Gatto give me Melissa Gatto at the plus 145. I'll go another dog right here. Give me Melissa Gatto. Cleetson Rodriguez, this dude's a monster. Versus CJ Vergara. I've only seen Cleetson's. I've seen like a highlight of him, and I've seen his Dana White Contender Series fight. Dude's got some serious striking. Dude's legit. CJ Vergara, I think he's more of a wrestler. Give me Cleetson Rodriguez TKO round 2. Ariane Carnolosi versus Lupi Godinez. Give me Godinez decision. Journey Newsom versus Fernie Garcia. Fernie Garcia, he's a wild little dude. I saw him on the Contender Series too. Journey Newsom kind of been a disappointment. He's got quick hands. He could win this fight. But give me Fernie Garcia. Give me decision. That's it. That's all I got. I ran through them all. Everything's on wax. Triple Champ's got to piss. He's going to piss his pants. What else do I got? That's it. That's all I got. What are we at? 157 or something like that? 157. 157. All up in your motherfucking ass. Seth Gecko, a.k.a. Moody Hank, for the Triple Champ. For Moody Hank over there, the WSP mascot, German Shepherd mascot for the former women's Triple Champ. Sweet P, a.k.a. Sweetums, a.k.a. Little Sweet. Seth Gecko, a.k.a. Moody Hank. And I'm out, motherfuckers.